Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. By virtue of the power vested in me as acting Chancellor, I hereby constitute this congregation of the University of the Free State for the awarding and conferral of qualifications in the Faculty of Law. I therefore award and confer qualifications to and all the candidates presented by the Dean of the Faculty to this congregation. In addition, I hereby award and confer qualifications to and on those whose names appear in the program but who are not present here today. You may be seated.
Dumelang, good afternoon, goeiemiddag to everybody. Welcome to this graduation ceremony. I see we are a more mature group of students. But before we start with our formal proceedings, I want to recognize our Rector and Vice Chancellor, Professor Peterson. He is the acting Chancellor for today. Also, we have a guest speaker, a very well-known Judge Dennis Davis, and he will do the congratulatory message. We have our Registrar, Mr. Anban Naidu, Executive Director of Student Affairs, Mr. Themba Slashu, President of the Convocation, Dr. Peter de Tooy, then representatives of the Deans of the following faculties: Economics and Management Sciences, Professor Brownhilde Nene; Education, Professor Venketsamy; Health Sciences, Professor Muriel Meyring; Humanities, Dr. Edwin Duplessis; Law, Dr. Jacques Metier; Professor Koos ter Blanche is a representative of NAS; and Theology and Religion is represented by Dr. Annelie Meingen. The ISRC President are represented by Tumisang Motsuane. Thank you very much, colleagues. Dear students and distinguished guests, today is a special day indeed. Few events and occasions hold as much significance as your graduation and this, your postgraduate graduation. This day is just as important for those who have supported you along the way, your families, on my right-hand side, on my left-hand side, as well as the lecturers being involved in your journey up to this point. Many of you are first families that reached this milestone. You have earned this moment and you should be extremely proud. Always acknowledge and recognize the significance of your achievements as you transition, in this case, from being a graduate already, but also to become an alumni. Graduates, you have had the honor of studying at an institution that commands a track record that is on par with well-regarded national peers, as reflected in our 2023 Times Higher Education World University Impact Rankings. Sufficient evidence indicates that higher education has the potential to function as an agent of change and a means of serving the greater good. Although the mission of our university has always been to equip you with the knowledge and the skills and the attributes to make a difference in your field of study, in your profession, we are also mindful that values are as important for you to make difference in your communities in where you are functioning now. The UFS places great emphasis on ensuring that students and staff have an outstanding university experience. So in pursuit of excellence, we are proud that our environment is conducive for intellect and knowledge to flourish. As such, our values of excellence, innovation, and impact, accountability, care, social justice, and sustainability are embedded in all our activities across the institution. Graduandi, irrespective of what you undertake in the future, where you are, what you do, remember to pursue your passion, your mission, and continuously have the desire to make difference in the lives of others, specifically those in the communities that are surrounding you. Do it with kindness, empathy, passion, and awareness of the real issues. If you want to tackle the unfinished goals of our country, to create a better world, do it by building bridges. Remain morally astute. Grow your coalitions. Life can be challenging on your own. However, great results achieved collectively. It is up to you to align yourself to the common good cause and to heal the divisions that keep us separated and carry along those who have been left out, left behind, and are still struggling. Congratulations for what you have achieved today. May you have continued success in all your endeavors. Baie dankie. I thank you. Kia aliboga. Just before we start the formal proceedings, I just want to do some logistical arrangements and some rules of our university. You will note that there are some photographers in the room. They are behind us, in front of us, and when you are being capped, so please refrain from taking selfies. Also, we had some sessions previously where students grabbed this very delicate microphone, so please refrain from doing that. We know you want to celebrate, and I would appreciate if we don't do that. Also, there are aspects that we want to bring to attention, although I know you are a very mature group, you've experienced this already. And so when you celebrate on the stage, please allow some time that we can name the next graduate as well. The families also want to hear that name. And so do your celebration and then get capped immediately after that. I'm also asking that please keep your cell phones on silent during the ceremony, and as well when you want to leave the hall as in emergencies, please do so, but we are preferring not to disturb the proceedings of the day. While I'm inviting the choir to come in, I'm going to introduce their music item. They're going to do a medley for us, Sambunani, Dubela, Damkla Kudubeni, and Chozalauza. That is performed by our choir under the direction of Mr. Werner Stander. Our musical item for this afternoon celebrates three cultures. Sambunani, a traditional Zulu song, features the typical call and response technique so strongly associated with traditional South African music. This is followed by Namkla Kudibeni, a war song from the Xhosa culture, and Dubula, which sings about the honey bird whose milk is sour, which is no good for the child, and therefore the bird should be chased away with a big bang. The medley is rounded out with the famous Ndebele song, Chozaloza, which will hopefully have everyone singing and dancing along. To perform this medley, please welcome on our stage the UFS Bloemfontein Campus Choir under the direction of Mr. Werner Stander. Wonderful. This put us really in a mood of celebration. Give them another hand of applause, please. Chancellor. I'm pleased to invite Acting Dean of the Faculty of Law, Dr. Mathieu, to the stage, who will present his candidates.
Acting Chancellor, I have the privilege of requesting you to award the following qualifications to the candidates that I introduced to you. For the Advanced Diploma in Estate and Trust Administration, Evelyn Teresa Anandnam. Willem Francois Bauer and a Diploma with Distinction. Shirley Ann Drummond. Annerie Duplessis. Yanga Duma. Patience Lindelwa Gatjeni and a Diploma with Distinction. Danel Higu. Carol Anneline Lenzi. Tandeka Lufele. Mochwaleri Alna Manamela. Tandeka Gloria Masilo. Joe Mpubani Matladi. Tumisang Tebe Modiba and a Diploma with Distinction. Mkululi Moyo. Spabawe Njoba. Sammy Joe Cindy Roo. Katarina Elizabeth Schnettler. Ntabeleng Prudence Iletsu and a Diploma with Distinction. Inga Cecilia Tait. Oba van Tonder and a Diploma with Distinction. Samantha Bowen van Zyl. Jody Vermaak and a Diploma with Distinction. Denai Verster. Skabiso Wapula. Aitu Voyowetu Yona. I now present the postgraduate diploma in estate planning. Lydia Kambule. Lenonolo Mashifane. Taryn Corrine Miles. Success Mpulelu Mochlo. Mavis Ntumbizotwa Mokare. Mosemole Morajele. Jacobus Hendrikus Pieters. Lenosnono Precious Salemani. Simei Verster. Andrei Wetmar. I now present the postgraduate diploma in financial planning. Tasneem Akbani. Winston Noel Anderson. Neil John Bailey. Danny Blunden. Elise Botha. Alwyn Brown. François Gerhardus Coetzee. Annette Coetzee. Andia da Silva. Michael Johannes de Wet. Rechego Faditswe Di Swane. KJ Erasmus. Zakir Inhoes. Hayley Candace Evans. Sinead Farrell. Itumeleng Fortuin. Marzan Jordan. Denayo Betty Komatsana. Gonse Fortunate Lekheto. Refiwe Liboke. Ramangwele Nicodemus Lekete. J.D. Lowe. Gurley Mabena. Sibile Nontubeko Lorraine Magongu. Priscilla Makubetse. Reitumetse Makotuane. Thank you. Mohale Lucas Malesa. Yashil Manidut. Vuyelwa Tumelu Mankwele. Chantal Marais. Mesuli Nontimbifekile Matonzi. Rorisang Amanda Matsosu. Nkobele Mbonani. Agubakwe Mbuweni. Palesa Mdidejana. Refiwe Mugale. Patlile Moraswi. Khomotso Motlong. Maria Msimangu. Bonisanane Mchekisa. Rialivu Vua Mudao. Nanini Mzamani. Nkosi Yoksolo Wamkewe Mze Kandaba. Meshanwa Naidu. Ndevu Ambani Nesengani. Khomotso Lydia Ngojane. Maleratu Sebongile Nslapu. Nontubeku Adelaide Nkosi. Nonshlanshla Kate Nkuta. Mbungeni Prescott Nkwanyana. Andri Mwala Ntema. Nana Ntlane. Unal Wedendal. Shirai Ulifi. Zelda Pretorius. Itumeleng Pul Duduzile Kabengu. Yanda Kokama. Zanele Radebe. Priti Rajkumar. Danai Ro. Kuketsu Tatu Ramalete. Sebueng Sylvia Ramokone. Alex Emil Schaaf. Atlehang Siekui. Chiamu Tono Shoba. Rizal Amanda Slabbert. Juliet Teresa Stotter. Danelle Swanepoel. Elizabeth Ann Swanepoel. Lebohang Tawana. Zianda Tetani. Chadwin Jermaine Joseph Tibbetts. Adrian Richard Tonkin. Hanlie van der Merwe. Ignatius Michael van Rooyen. Wessel Laurens Visser. Yunela Willem. Bekumusa Nobleman Zikali. I now present the postgraduate diploma in estate planning. Zilindo Kugle Pulumo. I now present the postgraduate diploma in investment planning. Arthur Ernest Bailey. Juliana Nyasha Chikamba. Michaela Chotia. Sean Francois Dalton. Lutandu Dlakavu. Felisa Godlosa. Teddy Mohane Koos Legao. Ochori Singh Given Mabasu. Tokozane Magubane. Tabang Malasi. Eugene Kagiso Tabete Maseme. Shingirai Jonathan Matsanura. Lenokuhle Bongani Mtinkulu, and a diploma with distinction. Lifa Masindi Mulautsi. Hannes Rues. Alpha Sitole. Minentle Lediwe Zulu.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's just give a hand together for Dr. Mathieu that read out the names very eloquently. Thank you very much. Mr. Chancellor, it is my privilege to introduce the guest speaker of today, Judge Dennis Davies, who retired from the bench in December 2020, was educated at the Herzliya School and the Universities of Cape Town and Cambridge. He served as a judge of the High Court of Cape Town since 1998 and judge president of the Competition Appeal Court since February 2000. He is an honorary professor at the University of Cape Town, the Western Cape, Wits, and is an extraordinary professor in the University of the Free State Centre for Human Rights. He's also chair of the Davis Tax Committee and was one of the drafters of the Competition Act of 1998 and the Companies Act of 2008. He has authored 11 books and held visiting professorial posts at the universities of Toronto, Melbourne, Georgetown, the Harvard, Florida Brown, and New York universities. Judge Davies is currently the chairperson of the Companies Tribunal. God, ladies and gentlemen, please give a hand for Judge Davies.
Mr. Vice Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great privilege to be here, to be asked to speak to you for a whole range of reasons. Firstly, this is a wonderful university, and for reasons I'll come to in a moment, it seems to me that under the leadership of Professor Peterson, it's become a beacon of hope for South Africa. And it's about a beacon of hope that I want to talk to you about today. Because it's interesting. When I was last here on this platform, I was paging through the program. I invite you to do so, to see who got honorary doctorates here. And it's fascinating that in the old days, amongst others, honorary doctorates were given at this university to H.F. Verwoerd, C.R. Swart, and B.J. Forster. I mean, you've got to ask yourself, as I look through the people who are diplomats today, they would be turning over in their grave if they knew to what this university had become. It is an extraordinary manifestation that South Africa can, in fact, transcend its racist, sexist, and homophobic past. It's a wonderful illustration of what you can make of a university which was a history, like all the universities in South Africa, saturated by racism, and graduate a whole range of you today. It just gives me extraordinary hope. Many of you sitting, I don't know, I suspect, might well because you are graduates before, might have been graduates, first-time graduates of your families, many of whom are here to support you. And what you are therefore the manifestation of is the way in which humanity can transcend the barriers of racism and other forms of structural impediments placed in their way. So I want to congratulate all of you for the fact that you are here and you have attained further qualifications about which I will speak in a moment. And it really is about hope that I want to talk to you about. And the reason why I want to talk to you about hope is because we live in a country which to a large degree wallows in a sense of hopelessness and lack of direction. The facts speak for themselves. The socioeconomic facts, for example. Some 27% of children under the age of 5 in South Africa are stunted as a consequence of severe and long-lasting malnutrition. I want to pause there. It turns out that something like 3, 4, 5 million children every night go to bed starving. We cannot possibly live in a society which allows that to happen. It's a disgrace, it's a crime against humanity, and it's happening on our watch. The fact of the matter is that in relation to unemployment, depending on which figure you take, whether the official or the expanded, it may well land up that we're talking about something in the region of between 35 to 45% of the population. It is just mind-boggling. Recently, the distinguished journalist Mark Haywood noted, whether it be the murder of a young black woman lawyer in Rustenburg, the killing of a veteran journalist in Gauteng, or random acts of gun violence, South Africa is killing its own. More than 25,000 murders a year. Notwithstanding promises, policy documents, crisis committees, and even a new minister, the electricity crisis continues. Right? The growth rate, which in terms of the National Development Plan, which I might remind you was under the leadership of the present president, should have reached 5% per year in order to address these legacies. We know on the Reserve Bank's estimate, we're not going to get to 1%. So the figures are shocking in the extreme. Now, as graduates, as diplomats of this distinguished university, you are certainly entitled to look at us, the older generation, and ask, what kind of mess have you bequeathed to us? What vindication of the promises enshrined in our Constitution of a society based on freedom, equality, and dignity for all have you actually achieved over 30 years? What tangible proposals are on the table for addressing these huge social and economic challenges which continue to produce a society in which there's only a meaningful and dignified life for a few? Now, the irony of it all is that if we all sat together here for 5 minutes, no more, we would know what was to be done. Why? Because we've got a library of proposals and policy documents and speeches and goodness knows what, which tell us what to do. The question is not ideas. The question is, why on earth are we not implementing any of these? Why on earth are we just allowing the figures that I've just outlined to you to simply be replicated in daily life? There seems to me that one of the reasons why we feel that there is no hope is because there's not even an attempt to ensure the concrete implementation of promises previously made. And what makes it worse is there appears to be no shame in the fact that the same promises are made year in and year out without ever being brought into reality. And what makes it even worse than that is there doesn't seem to be a shame when people steal. I'm not talking about ordinary stealing, that's bad enough. I'm talking about stealing of billions of rands which could be used for the redress of millions of people in South Africa. I'm talking of the billions of rands which can ensure that not one child goes to bed starving at night. I'm talking about the billions of rands which would give millions of others who, unlike you, have not had a quality education, the quality education that every child in South Africa deserves and whom we owe. That's what I'm talking about. Where's the shame? Where's the moral fiber of our society which allows us to say, this just can't continue? And of course, in terms of proposals, let me talk to you, because I'm delighted this afternoon to talk to people broadly in my own field. I started life off at the Old Mutual in estate planning. Let me tell you something about estate planning and trusts. Watching you all come up here, when I started, it was literally a province of a few white men. I can't tell you the joy that I experienced watching you all come up, realizing, and I'm certainly not suggesting that we shouldn't have white men, that's not my point. My point is that you reflected the demography of our country. It showed me that we could have people in the commercial world, women and black South Africans, who could essentially do this job and do it brilliantly. And by goodness, do we need that. Because all of you, trained now, postgraduately as it were, in estates administration, estate planning, investment, we need expertise in this area. One of the great problems of South Africa is the way in which, as it were, the entire economy has let us down. We need forensic experts who can catch the crooks. I consult for the South African Revenue Service at the moment, and any of you are interested in actually working in that department, we're always looking for people. But it is true that if you bring expertise to the bar, the sidebar, the accounting profession, and all of which owe us a huge explanation as to their roles in state capture, the fact that this university has produced this level of expertise in these areas, which were primarily the province of white men, seems to me to constitute hope of an extraordinary kind. You know, the other day, I was talking to a very distinguished woman, Silk, at the bar, who does commercial work. And she told me an astonishing story. She said that one of the experts, economic experts with whom she worked, had sort of put her name and another equally distinguished woman, Silk, forward to lead cases. And 3 firms of leading attorneys in South Africa said, we can't have women leading cases. Judges don't listen to women. I thought, in 2023? So when I see a complement of people who have now got great expertise in a whole range of important commercial issues coming and graduating here, I know that that kind of misogynistic prejudice cannot last for any longer. And it's important that you play the role that I'm sure you will. I just want to make one other point. I was recently reading an extraordinary book that I could recommend to everybody. I would recommend it to all our politicians on all political parties, but whether they'd read them or not, I leave to you to answer that. It's a book by Martin Wolf, who's the chief economist in the Financial Times, and has written a book called The Crisis of Democratic Capitalism. I think what he's really talking about is social democracy, by the way. And what he's tried to do in that book is to ask himself a question that we should all ask, which was this. When President Roosevelt, all those years ago, during the crisis of the American economy after the crash, brought about a New Deal, how can we bring about a New Deal for South Africa? Or he was talking about the world, of course, but we can apply it to South Africa. A New Deal for the 21st century. Of course, we have to accept that we work within the paradigms of a market economy. But how do we make that work? And those of you now who are involved and will be involved in the financial sector need to think about these questions. How do we provide decent jobs for all? How do we ensure that the concentration of wealth of a few through large corporations such as Google, Apple, Facebook, and Amazon dominate the terrain, reproducing inequality and effectively poverty across the world? These are questions we should be asking ourselves, and given the fact that you have graduated in the fields you can, you're in a good place to essentially grapple with these particular problems. In short, the challenge for you, the challenge for South Africa, is to develop a discourse which will essentially allow the implementation of policy which will effectively ensure that 60 million people can live in a dignified fashion. You, who are the generation who've inherited the mess, are entitled to look at our political system with deep-seated anger and frustration. You're also entitled to look at the business sector, which in the main has distinguished itself only by the fact that throughout South African history, it's never seen a South African government it does not like. There are exceptions, and one of them, let me quote you, I found really interesting recently. An article written by Bobby Godsall, who was once the CEO of Anglo Gold Ashanti, and James Motlatsi. And I might add, I'd like to put into that exceptional category the Chancellor of this university, Bochum Mohale, who has basically argued very tenaciously for the kinds of suggestions that I've put to you today. And these, Godsall and Motlatsi, remind us that in 1994, more than 18 million South Africans voted for a project which held that South Africa belonged to all who live here, black and white. That freedom requires democracy with rights and responsibility and key viable institutions entrenched in the Constitution to serve our people well. Governments, they argue, at all levels must be staffed by people of competence and integrity, and there must be the economic imperative of accountable government at all levels for sustained expansion of the economy and the progressive inclusion of all into economic activity. As they write, neither race nor past party loyalty is enough to return South Africa to the promise that was made in 1994. Parties that campaigned for the 2024 election, they write, on the basis that dilutes, disguises, or even denies values, can only take us closer into the abyss. It's not for me, as a retired judge, to enter the world of party politics. But it is for me to say to you, who are the generation who are going to have to fix this mess, and it is for you to ultimately use the skills that you have been given thanks to the training, that studies that you've done so diligently. You will have to fix this mess. We, the older generation, have bequeathed to you a situation which you are entitled, as I said, to be angry about. But if we are going to move South Africa into the society which we want, based on non-racialism, dignity for all, and a real democratic state, it's your generation who are going to have to do the job. And the fact that you've actually been trained in areas which are so scarce and so important, such as the insurance of a financial sector and a legal system which actually is transformed into ensuring that it works for 60 million South Africans, makes it all the more important that you fulfill that role. Let me conclude. I think it's true that this is the legacy that we've bequeathed to you. You are right to be angry, but anger on its own is no salvation. I'm reminded, as I say that, of the famous television a film of many years ago called Network, where the main character in Network is a TV moderator. And he finally gets up because he considers the country to be in a mess. And he says to his viewers, I want you to go open your windows and shout into the streets, I am as mad as hell and I will not take it anymore. I think we need to open our windows and shout, we're as mad as hell and we will not take it anymore. But that on its own is not sufficient. It is people like yourselves who've been privileged to get a great education from a fine university to whom we have to look. I have great hope when I look out at the sea of diplomats here before me that you will achieve this dream, so that substantive freedom can be attained for all, from Cape Agulhas to the Zambezi River, from the Atlantic Ocean to the Indian Ocean, that every single human being in this country will then be able to say, we live in a country that respects the dignity, the freedom, and treats everyone equally. It's a huge burden, I accept, which lays upon the shoulder of your generation. But I have little doubt that you will perform better than we. The future of this country depends on you. Thank you.
Graziandi, the judge has spoken. The accountability and that he has put onto your shoulders is to say that ideas is not enough. We need to implement. We need to find our moral compass and our moral fiber. And it's up to you now to make the difference, to be inclusive, to take everybody with us. Judge, thank you very much for the hope that you have provided for us today. Thank you. Colleagues, Graduandi, and ladies and gentlemen, we are at the end of our proceedings, but I would like to hand over to our Acting Chancellor, Professor Peterson, to do the honors.
I think while the choir is coming in, I just want to say thank you to Judge Dennis Davis. And I think we, if I read through the program, there's a very big omission here. We're talking about honorary doctorates, and Judge Dennis Davis also received an honorary doctorate from the University of the Free State. So I think we should give him another hand of applause for a wonderful message. And it's so great to have Judge Dennis Davis associated with this fine institution, and he's still making contributions as an extraordinary professor in the Center for Human Rights, that's part of the Faculty of Law. Let me also, as Rector and Vice Chancellor and as Acting Chancellor this afternoon, extend my congratulations to our graduates. Well done. And I just wanted to say that you probably as graduates will agree with me that this particular achievement would not have been possible without the support of loved ones. And those loved ones are obviously your parents, guardians, friends, and also family members. And I think while you probably can identify where your loved one sits in the audience, I would like you maybe just to rise and with your certificates or scrolls, just make eye contact with your loved ones and shout your appreciation for that support. Thank you, thank you. You know, I can't now see my academic cohort that's sitting down here. It's been taken out by the choir, but I would like to refer to our academic staff that are represented here and sitting on my right. Some of them are also sitting on the platform here, and I would like to from my side and also on behalf of the graduates, want to express my appreciation for the fine work that they are doing as academics of the University of the Free State. You would know that it's not just imparting and transferring and engaging with knowledge while you would study to your qualification, but there always was support, whether it's emotionally or socially, to help you, take you through the challenge that you might have experienced on your journey to get to this particular achievement. I also, at these ceremonies, recognize that the academics are the brain trust of the university. They are often, when you look at universities and you look at the fineness and the quality of the institution, you measure that on the quality of the academics that you see at the university. So I think we should put our hands together for our academics, for the fine work that they are doing and continue to do. But the academics is probably only 1/3 of our staff at the university. The other 2/3 belongs to a category which we call support staff. They are the staff that I often say are in the background. We don't see them the same way. They don't wear, well, in our particular case, there might be people with specific jackets, but they don't wear gowns, and you don't often see them from that perspective. But they are here. They are making sure that our graduation ceremonies, our registration process, our examination processes are running smoothly. They are the staff that ensure that we are safe on our campuses. They are the people, the staff, that also make sure that our offices, the lecture theatres, our accommodation rooms, that they are clean and being looked after. And now I want to, from where I stand, would like to say thank you for that staff. They're just doing the task so seamlessly, and we don't often see them doing it, but it just happened. So I also would like you to put your hands together for our support staff. And then finally, I want to also indicate to you, now that you have graduated, and most of you probably already have had the first qualification from the university, I would indicate to you that now you now becomes an alumnus of the University of the Free State. And being an alumnus, you become part of a fine group, a group that we call the Convocation. There are 170,000 plus members of the Convocation of the University of the Free State around the globe. And we are really lucky to have here, an honor to have the president of the Convocation with us on the platform, Dr. Peter de Tooy. Peter, if you could just stand up. And the reason why I talk about the Convocation for me represents a continuity between the past, the present, and the future. And the continuity, and you're a member of that now, also have to challenge us, to hold us accountable as leaders of this institution, but also different leadership within the institution. It talks about the values that Judge Dennis Davies talked about. It's about responsibility, it's about integrity, and also to make sure that what we do, we're not doing for ourselves. In our particular case, we do it for the institution, for the University of the Free State. And you have got your qualification now from the University of the Free State. And your task in terms of challenging us must ensure that at least the quality of your qualification that this institution offered going forward is at least at the same level as what you have achieved. But preferably far greater, more enhanced from where we are as a base in 2023. You have to ask the right questions if you're unhappy with how and what's happening in the institution, because that keeps us on our toes. But it also reminds us that we are here as custodians for an institution that is this year 119 years old. But we also would like you to keep in contact with the university as an alumnus and as alumni. So we would like to have your details, engage with our alumni office, and try to give back to the institution. And that giving back to the institution is not always financially, could also be in other forms. And I would like you to be a proud ambassador, a proud alumnus of this institution. And I would like you to go out there and try to make the world a better place. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the proceedings for this afternoon. The university takes pleasure in inviting all graduates and their guests to exam room number 4, where tea, coffee, and soft drinks will be served. The national anthem will now be played. I think the choir will help us to make sure that the voices come through strongly. And after that, you are requested to remain standing while the congregation is dissolved and the main and academic processions leave the hall. Please rise. By virtue of the power vested in me as acting Chancellor, I hereby dissolve this congregation of the University of the Free State.